Alright guys, so I've always been quite skeptical about whether a World War I or II Total War could actually work. It's something I've gone back and forth on quite a bit, but there is a modder currently making a globe-spanning World War II mod for Rome Total War Remastered, and it looks absolutely insane. Sirrianus Dagovax, who's a very experienced modder in Total War by the way, he's done a lot of mods for original Rome and the Remaster, Star Wars Total War, the Lord of the Rings Total War, and others, and he is in deep development of porting over the original Total War 1942 mod from Rome to the Remaster, and he's doing some incredible work here with unique unit models like artillery, tanks, infantry, unique animations, battle maps in cities, you name it. It's all here and it looks absolutely fantastic. So the first thing we need to talk about is the campaign map, because Dagovax has built up a map spanning the entire world, from Antarctica to Australia to South America, Europe. It's all pretty much covered and it looks really, really good. I mean, we don't have cities here just yet, but he's clearly putting in a lot of work for things like mountain ranges, forests, the Amazon River, all here to try and get the most realistic textures for the campaign map and to really get a good representation of what the world actually looks like naturally. And best of all, he's actually shared a few images of how he envisions filling the map with regions. And I mean, look at South America. It's insane. Rome Remastered having no regional limitations, of course, means you can have as many as you like. And if this is how South America is going to get broken up, then I can only imagine what the rest of the world will look like as well. Especially Europe, where the bulk of the war happens, of course, and where the initial release of the campaign will be focused on. From what we can see, there's also a fantastic amount of detail and effort going into custom city battle maps. This is an example of a large German city where we can see unique citizen models just walking around. It's really great. I love Rome's city viewing feature. You can see a massive variety of buildings, the custom paved roads, the smoke rising from the chimneys of these factories, and look at this city, the scale of it. It's massive. It begs the question, of course, will unit pathfinding be okay? Will ordered units be able to navigate around these roads, these buildings without clipping into things and getting stuck? And to be fair, I do ask that, but the citizens seem to be having quite an easy time walking around, so maybe that's not something to be worried about at all. And what's so impressive here is the detail, the variety of everything that's going on. I mean, the buildings, the windows, the columns, the churches. I mean, I'm sorry, but he's even built in a train station with a unique train model. Like, oh my god, if this is what modding in Rome Remastered is like, then we are in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine tanks rolling into the town, or artillery firing from a distance, reducing the buildings to rubble, infantry moving in to occupy buildings, fighting room to room, firefights in the streets, grenades being chucked, MG nets in specific locations to, suppress a location. Like, there is so much potential here for an actually decent World War II Total War mod. Last thing I want to point out here on this map is I want to mention that the mod does have planes and aerial warfare, so I think things like dogfighting, bombing runs, etc. will all be possible at some point in the future of the mod. And the reason why I say this is there is an actual airfield on this battle map. Maybe it is cosmetic, I don't know, I haven't been able to play it personally myself, but it could still be that there are planes parked here, this runway. Maybe they take off and enter the battle. To see it be functional in this mod would be a total dream come true. And then, of course, we also need to take a closer look at the units that Dagovax is remastering from the port and developing from scratch for the mod as well. From infantry units to tanks to artillery to planes, there is a lot here to enjoy. And as a mod I've been following for about 6 months now, they look better and better. Lots of units are being remastered and they look so good. I've never seen planes before, but we've got planes here flying overhead. There are also custom animations for all these units. Infantry crouching down to aim and fire, artillery pieces raising their barrels up to get the right angle, tanks, tracks, pushing vehicles forward. Like, for one guy, this is all super impressive. This is the one area I wasn't 100% sure about. How would the units actually look, and really would there be a custom animation kind of sequence possible to really animate them and bring them to life, make the battles feel authentic and realistic? But he's done an amazing job here so far. There's There's a lot of variation, there's plenty of ranged fighting, and not a lot of units moving up and engaging in melee combat, which is great. It just looks really good, much better than I expected it ever to get to. And to be honest here, this is the one area of this mod that impresses me the most. The visuals. The tanks look so smooth, not clunky or boxy like I would have expected for Rome Remastered or original Rome. Dagovax has done a seriously amazing job with the detailing, the smoothing out rough edges, with making it look immersive, especially with animations, even the planes flying overhead. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the flags on each plane, but they're not bouncing around, they look natural when they're moving, and they even have propellers that actually turn. Like, that is amazing. There are still some bits to do, of course. I'm not a massive fan of the firing animations, for example, with the rounds visible, flying in the air at their targets. I'm also not a fan of the tank's destruction animations. I think there's some opportunity here to make vehicles actually have a destroyed version after a large explosion. But still, I'm sure there's plenty of other bits to flesh out as well, and the mod is in good hands with Dagovax. Obviously, there are also lots of questions in my mind about the mod that haven't been revealed yet. What are the plans for playable factions? We've seen Japanese units, British units, and German units, but not much else. So how are the other faction rosters coming along? How far off is a complete campaign? With German city models or generally European models looking quite good, it would seem Europe would be a natural starting place. But will the campaign map be filled out with other regions and factions as well? What about the Pacific theater of war? I'm also interested to see how the AI will perform on the campaign and on the battles. It looks like from these pieces of gameplay that it likes to charge ahead, which isn't great. Having them stationary at a distance on open field battles with long range fighting would be ideal, and in cities, of course, the AI taking cover or using buildings to occupy and fortify, MG nests in specific locations, like all of that will be really interesting to see as well. And I do wonder, of course, I'm sure you're thinking this as well, about naval warfare. Of course, Rome never had naval warfare, but there are mods for the remaster that enable them to a certain degree. It would be so cool to see Dagovax implement some sort of naval aspect of battles as well. Coastal bombardment, submarine warfare, supply ships, lots of potential on this side as well. I do wonder about campaign mechanics as well. Will Dagovax be implementing unique historical events? I'm sure he will be. Will there be options to bomb cities rather than besiege them if you have aerial superiority? How will AA flak work in these scenarios? There are just so many questions. What we do know for sure is the aim for the initial release is later this year sometime, and that the original 1942 mod had unit rosters for loads of factions, so not just what we see here. So while remastered textures and models may be ready for factions like Germany, Britain, or Japan, there is still plenty of other factions with relatively complete unit rosters as well, just without the remastered visuals, essentially. Still, I imagine once the mod is in testing phase and things are a bit more public, it may get some much needed help from modders and see further progress be made in both the campaign map and in faction unit rosters as well. Hopefully more campaign city maps too. Overall, I've never really been sold on whether a World War II setting could work in Total War properly. I've never played the original 1942 mod for Rome, but now that there's a port happening on the remaster, I'm honestly quite excited to try it out and see how it plays, how these beautiful, massive custom city maps will function, how the insane scale of the campaign map will play once it's complete with regions, cities, and trade networks, how mechanics like industry, political intrigue, or espionage will work, and how these unit rosters will look like and play up close and personal. There's so much potential here, and Dagovax, being a legendary modder with previous projects on original Rome like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings Total War, has tons of experience and skill to make it happen. Hopefully sometime this year we get to see this mod release and actually be able to test it out. And that's it for today, guys. I wanted to showcase a new mod on the scene, still in development, of course, work in progress, for Rome Remastered, called Total War 1942. This has been a bit of a preview of it based on what Dagovax has been sharing online. There seems to be a ton of great progress, and as more is made, I'll be right here covering it all on my channel. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below, and let me know what you think about everything you've seen here on Total War 1942. Subscribe to the channel for more Total War content, gameplay, and news just like this. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.